Hello traders, welcome to a new video here on my channel. So today I want to talk to you about the large volume trade indicator in Sierra. Again, this is just one of their standard free indicators that is included, and for those of you looking for order flow trading, this is going to be a great tool that you can use. I'll just go over the basics of how to put it on, how you can adjust it, and just go over some basics of how this can be useful. Again, you know, don't think that just because this is an indicator that I'm showing you that it's like something magical that is just gonna give you like perfect signals to get in and out every time. This is just something that I use for Confluence, which just helps me sort of interpret what is going on with the price auction and with the orders coming through, and it shows interest as far as areas where large volumes of trades are taking place. Okay, so if we see this chart, this is a 3,000 tick chart in the ES. This is the March 2023 contract, and as you can see, there's little red and green bubbles in several places in the chart. This is pretty much the study. There's many ways that you can customize how it looks. This is the way I like to have it on my tick and minute charts, and I'll show you. I have a 5-minute chart here that is blank right there, so we're gonna put the study in here and I'm gonna show you just how to customize it. But basically, as you can see here, it just gives me little bubbles. You can also have it as rectangles, etc. You can also have it show you the text of the number of trades that have gone on. The reason I don't use the text, I put the text in the footprint charts. You can apply this indicator to many different types of charts. I put it on my time-based and my tick charts, as well as on my footprint charts. If I go here into the settings, I have it just as transparent bubbles here. But if I just close this here, for example, and change this, now you can see we actually get bubbles with the number of contracts or the volume that was traded. So as you can see, I have this customized for a 50 lot threshold. So that means every time there is a trade or trades going through together at one level that is over 50 lots in size on the mini, then is going to draw a bubble and is going to tell me what volume that bubble had. Okay, and again, you can put it this way, you can put it as rectangles, and you can also put it the way I had it before, and I'll go over all of this in a second, but I like to just put this as a clear bubble because on my footprint, that's where I have the details of the number of contracts that were executed. But pretty much suffice to say, you just set whatever threshold you want, and it's just going to show you any trades that go through that are above that. Okay, so now what is the utility of this? Well, for me, I like to use this because it shows me first areas where there's high interest and large volumes being traded. But also, if you notice, for example, this swing high here, we're making a rotation, we come down, make a swing low, we're coming back, and then we have this big buying contract, this big over 50 lots going up here, and price reverses. So what did this tells me? It tells me that the people that were trying to aggressively buy at the top, because remember, these are executed orders. So this is almost just the same as looking at a footprint. This is passive large traders that have limit orders to sell around this level are getting filled with aggressive buyers that are hitting the ask and are getting absorbed, and then we see the market reversing. So what this shows me is there was a large number of traders here that were caught off guard on the wrong side and are now underwater here once we break below, and they're probably going to have to bail out. They get stopped out, and that's all going to contribute to the force of the reversal here. Now, by the same token, sometimes if we have traders where, for example, here, you can see I have a few green bubbles here. That means we made a swing low, came up into previous resistance, and then we have big volumes coming here. That means traders are pushing to break through this, and you can see we take off and broke through this high here. We came into the edge of this node, resistance, resistance, we reject again, and then again, more big volumes to buy here again, making a higher swing low, and finally we have our breakout from this resistance level here. So this is a tool that I use for Confluence, both for identifying potential reversal areas where people are caught on the wrong side, as well as areas of momentum where if you're on a nice uptrend, you want to see big buyers coming in, helping to keep pushing the market in that direction. Okay, so let's just go into the 5-minute chart. There's no indicator here, and I'm just going to guide you through how you can apply this and how I customize it. Again, there's many different ways to customize it depending what you want to see. So I encourage you to just put it on, experiment, also tinker with the number of contracts. Like here, I have it set at 50 lots. Every trade or every large volume over 50 is going to highlight it. But if you want to have less signals, you just bring up that number higher. If you want more, you bring it lower. The important thing is tinker it to your specific market, to the time frame that you're trading, and just practice with it so it gives you the most the best signals possible. Because if you have the number too low, you're just going to have bubbles everywhere, and that's just going to cause analysis paralysis. You're going to be overwhelmed, and it's going to give you a lot of false signals that might not be very significant. If you put the number too high, then you might just get very few instances that it comes up, and you might be missing out. So again, you just got to play around and find your balance. So how do we apply it? We go to analysis, studies. We have our list here, and just go to the L and look for large volume trade indicator, add it into your studies, click apply, and you're going to see the chart is going to reload. This always happens when you apply this indicator, or when you change the size that you want it to give you. It always reloads the chart so it can properly display the graphics. Now, this looks like a mess. This always happens when you first apply the indicator, because now you need to tinker it. So we go back to studies. Let me get this out of the way. We go to large volume trade indicator and we click settings. Now we get our settings window here. So you can see it looks very messy because it's set at 10 contracts. So obviously you're going to get signals everywhere, because 10 contracts is not that big when you're talking about the ES during regular market hours. I have this indicator, and if I'm trading, for example, at night during the Glovex extended hours, I'll use a lower volume number, because obviously there's a lot less volumes traded during those overnight hours. But if you're in regular hours, it's going to be larger. So First thing, I'm going to put 50 here just as a base number just for this example. I click apply and you'll see the chart is reloading again. And now you're going to see there's a lot less signals. Okay, so you can see now we just get little rectangles in a lot less places. Okay, next thing, draw mode. This is going to be what is going to happen when it draws it. When is it going to draw it? You can do it based on diagonal differences, on the total ask bid volume, about a threshold, etc. I like to just choose the first one based on total volume above threshold. So any trade or group of trades that are at a price level over 50, I want it to highlight it. So I click apply. So now I'm there. Now, as far as the colors, so you can see here, in this case, let me go back into the ticks and just see something here. So, okay. Now over here, bid dominant, that would be basically when we're talking about bid and ask. If you remember, when you have the DOM, let me actually bring the DOM here just to go over this concept very quickly. When you have the DOM, depth of market, you have the price in the center, you have your bids on the left side, which is your resting limit orders to buy, your passive buyers, and you have your ask on the right, which is your passive seller or limit orders to sell above price, and bid is limit orders to buy below. So when you have executed orders or aggressive traders trying to market buy, that means they're lifting the offer. That means they're paying up into the ask to get filled. And if you have aggressive sellers, that means they're making market orders to sell, which means they're hitting the bid or they're paying lower to get in to go short. Okay, so if we go back to this now, and this goes back to the same concept of footprint as well. You can go see my footprint chart video. I don't want to have to go over this too much on this video, but on the footprint, what you get is bid by ask. So that means these are aggressive market orders executed to sell that are hitting the bid. And on the right side, you have executed market orders to buy that are lifting the offer or the ask. Okay? So if we go back here into the settings, let me get this out of the way. In this case, since we know that the executed market orders on the bid are sellers or aggressive bears, then I like to make this red. So I'll just put this here in red. I'll put this here maybe in pink. And then on the ask, we know this is aggressive buyers. So I'm just going to leave this colors here, same as they were, green, and then a little shade of green. Okay? So now I hit apply, and now you can see we have red squares for the aggressive large orders or large trade volumes over 50 to sell, and green to buy. Now indicator size, this is basically going to change the size of the square or the circle, and the text size, this is going to change the size of the text. If we go down here where it says draw volume text, it says none, so there's no text over here. But if I choose transparent, apply, you can see now we get a little number on each square telling you what was the size above the 50 threshold that we executed. Now, down here, I like to use a circle. So on marker style, I'll select circle, and you can see now they become a circle, but they look very small. So what I like to do is, where it says automatic indicator size, I put yes. And now minimum and maximum automatic indicator size. Minimum, I usually put 10 because that's big enough to fill in the background of the text. And maximum, I don't know, let's leave it at 35, that's fine. Now, use transparent draw style, I like to put yes. And that is in case we want to take off the text over here and we put none, we're just going to get little transparent dots. Now, the reason that these dots don't look very big is because over here, marker color size based on, it's set to all loaded chart bars. That means that I have 30 days of data loaded on this 5-minute chart. So the size of these dots is relative to all those 30 days. How do I tell how much data I have loaded? If I go into chart settings, right here where it says data limiting, right over here you can see days to load for intraday chart type. It says 30. Okay, the larger this number is, the more data and hard drive space it's going to take on your computer, and the longer it takes to load. So let's go back to studies. Let's go back into the settings. So what I like to do here under marker color size based on, I like to just put visible bars only, apply, and now you can see now the circles vary in size, and if I want it even larger, I can make the maximum size 50. And now you can see, now we have some really big bubbles here, because now this is only taking into account the data that I have on the screen right now. And so it's going to give me dots from a minimum size of 10, which will be these little guys here, up into 50, which is this big guy right here, and in between. And you can just tinker that to however you want. If you want to see the text, you would go to draw volume text, hit transparent, and now you can see you have text. You can see the numbers are sort of off to the right, so that is changed over here. Indicator size, you see it says 8. If I change this, no, where is it? Text size 15. Okay, that changes the text size. Now let's leave it at 10. Okay, so let me see, how did I, marker horizontal alignment, center. Okay, that's it. Yeah, under marker horizontal alignment, I set that at center, so that way the bubble is right in the middle. And then on indicator size, the larger I make it, it moves the numbers to the right. And so I just wanna tinker with this until I see that the numbers are in the middle of the bubbles, which they are right there. Okay, Now, these other settings, for example here, percentage above medium, above below medium, maximum volume, I don't use this because that is for the setting over here on draw mode. If you had any of these settings of above threshold, diagonal difference, etc., that's where you would use it. But like I said, I'm not using that in my examples. Okay, and that's pretty much the basis of the indicator. So we went over the size here, which again, this just moves the numbers left or right. Text size changes the numbers of the text for the number of contracts above the threshold. Automatic indicator size, I use yes. Minimum, maximum controls the size of your bubbles. If we want to make it a little smaller, we can just go, I usually have it between 10 and 30. Transparent style, I use yes. Market color, I use visible bars. Marker horizontal alignment, I have it centered. This entire bar marker doesn't apply to me. The bit text as color, you can change the color of the text, but I like to have it white because it contrasts pretty well with the red and green of the bubbles. Market style, I like the circle. You can also put none and you would just have the text or the number, but then you would obviously probably want to change the color of the text in that so you can see it. But I like to have that as a circle right there. And then draw volume text, again, if you have transparent, that'll put the bubble with the number inside of it. If you put none, it doesn't draw text and it just draws you the bubble. And again, if you put no to transparent draw style, it'll be a solid bubble. If you put yes to transparent style with the text off, it'll just give you a little transparent bubble here, and you can obviously vary your colors over here, but I just like to have red for aggressive sellers and green for aggressive buyers. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now you have your indicator set, and same thing we were looking at here. For example, on the 5-minute chart, you can see right here we had the open right at 9:30. We come down and look right here around the bottom of this wicks, we have 3 large trades came through above 50 contracts to aggressively sell right near the bottom of this wicks and at the high here. And once we have this candle and this breaks out over here, all these traders have already been stopped out or are going to force to close. And then you can see we have a nice reversal here. Then we get green bubbles here adding into the momentum. And then here we hit a large seller right here. Market reverses, and now we start getting high volumes of sells adding on into here. Okay, so again, this is just the confluence that I use. If we go back into the tick charts, and I'm gonna just give you an example of how I use this in the trading. Let's analyze what goes on over here and over here on the footprint chart using the large volume trade indicator as a confluence. So again, I have it set at a 50 lot threshold in the mini. So this is at 9:42 a.m. So if I go into my bid ask footprint chart here, this is that bubble we had here. This is, let me actually do this. I'm gonna split the screen. Right there. Well, let me change this here. Let me make this green just so it matches with the same colors as the chart here. Okay, well, let me make this darker and this lighter. Okay, so right there. So as you can see, this is the same things, except this is my 3000 tick chart and this is my 3000 tick footprint. So we are analyzing this swing high, which is this right here. So what do we see here? We had price, we broke this low, made a lower low, and now we are retracing. We come back into this general area of supply here, and we have a large trade that went down here. So I go into my footprint and I see we had 75 lots went through aggressively buying the top here of the swing high, thinking we're going to go up higher. And then what happens shortly after is market comes and breaks down below this level. So now this large trade that went on here is underwater. This was the start of a downtrend. And then we also pull back into this area again, and you can see we reject that area again. This is also very common, where we pull back into an area of high volumes and then we reject where we had traders that were underwater, because if we pull back here, then traders that were caught on the wrong side as well, if they bought here and it goes against them and then comes back, if they want to close at break even here, that means they're going to have to sell their position to get out of their long, and this just adds into the pressure then on the rejection. Okay, but then this indicator, what it helps us see is clearly shows us where there has been a large volume coming in. Okay, and then if we move down here, let's analyze the inverse. Let's analyze what happens when there was large trades going on that were caught underwater near the bottom. And you can see right here, this bubbles here. Let me actually change the size of the indicator here, because it's very small and it's hard to see. Okay, so now it's a little bit larger, but you can see same thing here. We had this low, we broke right below it, and then right here, all the late momentum traders are just trying to aggressively short near the bottom of this, which if you missed my video, go check out my video on the biggest mistakes to make in volume profile. You'll notice we had a bottom edge forming on the node here, and people saw this dip right below. 1, 2, 3 aggressive high volume shorts going in here trying to short this. Market reverses, and now all these large volumes that we're selling here are caught on the offside. You can see here on the footprint chart, bottom of the candles, a bunch of aggressive bearish imbalances right at the lows, and you can see big delta here. Delta again is executed markets orders to buy minus executed market orders to sell. So if it's negative, that means there's a lot more aggressive downside momentum traders trying to take this down. So what this low indicates now for me is there's large limit orders, large passive traders getting all their longs filled here, high volume selling, and this just reverses, and then same thing, we come back into this area with large volumes of selling, and now we just reject and bounce from this area and then continue the momentum higher, making a higher low. And then you can see some large buyers again coming with the momentum pushing this up, and then this just takes off. Okay, but that's pretty much the large volume trade indicator and how I use it in Confluence, again with volume profile, with order flow, with footprint, etc., to help me guide me in my decisions. There's a lot more other strategies that I use this with. I'm not going into detail on that here. If you want to check all those out, you can of course go check out my courses that I have available on my website. I go into a lot deeper detail on all this indicators and techniques, but pretty much wanted to share with you how you can use this indicator and how you can apply it and customize it on your charts. Okay, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you have a great week, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.